everyone. Welcome once again to Go Beyond Sports Live with me, Sonali Gupta. I am extremely excited, as always, to be on this platform and bring to you empowering stories that are connected to sports and the people who make sports what it is. Thank you very much for liking, subscribing, and being a part of Go Beyond Sports in every way that you have by supporting and by uh, being a part of this endeavor. I'm sorry, I never come with a script, so it's just very heartfelt. Thank you to all of you. I'm going to begin with a little small introduction about our guest today. Uh, it is an absolute honor and pleasure to have someone like him who is in the business of sports, somebody who makes sports what it is, brings it out to people across different platforms. Mr. Mittal, fondly called Avi, is a Mumbai-based businessman synonymous with his name in the field of sports leagues, usually from behind the scenes. He is the co-founder of Super Fight League, which is the world's first and only mixed martial arts league. He is also an honorary director of the All India Mixed Martial Arts. Mr. Mittal is a director of business and manages celebrity integration as well as the Super Boxing League. He is the executive vice chairman of the X1 Racing League, which is the world's first professional franchise-based motorsport league. X1 launched in India in 2019 with 6 teams and 24 race drivers, both men and women. He is an avid footballer and he loves to play this one sport for himself. Apart from owning his team, AM Undefeatable FC at the Roots Premier League, he is also the board member at the NGT Masters FC, which is a soccer club in New Jersey. He's passionate about his cricket league, the Swaraj Cup, which started in the memory of his grandfather. Apart from sports, he is a formidable businessman with several ventures across areas of interest like media and entertainment, energy, medical, health, etc. And also the chairperson at the BRICS Chamber of Commerce and Industries. It again is extremely honorable to have you on this platform, and thank you so much for joining in. Hello,
Hi,
Mr.
Sonali.
Mittal.
Can
Hi,
you hear
and
me
may
loud
I
and clear?
fondly call very loud and clear, and may I fondly call you Avi as well.
Please, please just call me Avi. It's really an honor
Thank,
being over here. Thank you so much for having me on your show, and it's really an honor being over here.
thank you so much. You really do wear your sport to on your sleeve, right? Um, I really want to start with this question, which I kind of ask a lot of my guests and
Hmm.
everybody who's connected to sports as to why sports. What is it that interests you to be engaged in sports, in playing as well as being a part of it?
Well, I think I very strongly believe more than anything else, sports is one thing that brings a lot of lives and people together. I think sports is the platform where, a lot of not only like-minded people, but I think it's also teaches me so much. I think it's like the perfect platform that brings everything together for me. I've used sports to build my businesses. I've used sports to, build my relationships. I've used sports to, bring together people. I've used sports to always display my emotions and affection towards other people. So it's like, I think it's like sports is the best platform ever for that mankind has created to bring everyone together.
Yes, and which is where I also echo exactly the same thoughts, even on Go Beyond Sports. And the idea is that sports is such a life skill, and I cannot emphasize every time and every interview that there is so much that we learn from sports and from being a part of any sport in whatever way possible. So tell me something now. I'm going to ask you this. So then, which is your favorite sport? Of course, I know you love to play football, and that is something that you enjoy. And then you're also passionate about cricket. You are also associated with so many several other sports. So would you pick one? And if yes, which one?
Actually, that's a tough one. I cannot pick any one particular sports. Yes, I love playing football. I'm still learning. I'm not that good at it, but I still keep learning to play football. Cricket as well. I'm still not good at it, but I own these teams and in my own league, I play myself so that I can learn the sport. right? Viewing wise, I love combat sports. As you know, I chair the All India Mixed Martial Arts Association as the honorary chairman. So MMA is something that has grown within me in time, and it's the fastest growing sport in the world. So I support MMA a lot, and I watch a lot. But still, there's no favorite sport as such. I play golf as well, and I think you don't even know this about me. I used to play national level billiards and snooker.
Oh my God, that's amazing. I actually didn't know that. Wow.
So I actually won the
I so
Maharashtra
what
State
what
League as well.
aspect of billiards and snooker then have you imbibed within yourself as as a person?
Well, billiards and snooker started off for me. It was actually the first sport I started playing, and it actually guided me a lot in my life in terms of concentration and putting in those hours and hours of practice. Like I played my first national championship at the age of 13, if you
Wow.
believe it or not. Yeah,
Wow.
and it grew on and on within me as a sport. I played a lot of international tournaments as well. I've gone for coaching to several different countries and learned from the pros. I was really guided with the like one of my biggest coaches who I learned the sport. I mean, a lot of the sport from was Geet Sethi sir. As you know, he's been like 10 times
Right.
world champion.
Yes.
And now in one of my businesses that I'm associated with, it's called so this company called Sports Masters, which I partnered with into with my one of my childhood friends, Sasha, from Bangalore. And in Bangalore, what we have done with this sport is we've actually partnered with 20-time world champion Pankaj Advani and started
Of
something called
course.
as Q School by Pankaj Advani, where we've
Amazing.
taken this sport to the grassroots level, where we've set up these billiards rooms within schools. So the Delhi public schools in Bangalore, as of now, two of them have got the Q School by Pankaj Advani in their schools itself, and kids
Awesome.
from the early age come and learn and play over there. And Pankaj guides and coaches them through virtual this and through his techniques. So it's
Wow.
like a great certification and validation for them as well. So yeah, so
Yeah.
billiards and snooker has been a very key part as well of my life.
Wow. I've actually played some too,
Okay,
and which
that's
is why
great.
it's very, very close to my heart.
So we need to play a game someday soon, post lockdown.
Soon, soon. So, so then my question here comes to you as then, can you share the changes that are happening in the sports industry and the entrepreneurship, like the way you are a part of it and you are also kind of getting things down to grassroots level. So where do we as a country stand and where do we kind of now jump forward from where we are?
Well, I feel that there is a lot of change, and there's a lot of new ideas and new ways of how sports can be seen and viewed and watched and learned is now emerging a lot digitally, and the digital sports way is the way forward. And a lot of esports is now coming up in our country, and like we did last year, we did something called as the X1 Racing esports as well, where we took it into colleges and malls where people were just playing e-gaming it, and in that. So I think that's the kind of changes that are needed now, and people need to accept that, like very soon, like post like I feel like this pandemic is here to stay for a while. It's sad, but that's the new reality and the new world order that we need to accept. But people need to start accepting that now all these sporting events are not something that they're going to be able to physically go and watch, and stuff like that. They need to be more digitally inclined towards still growing these sports and supporting what they did in the past. If not a
Right,
stadium, your home can be given that vibe of a stadium. So
right.
that's the way forward, I think. Now that's the only way forward, I feel now. And
So what
I was
would
just
you,
sorry, go on.
sorry, no, carry on.
Like I know somebody yesterday was mentioning to me, we don't have some confirmed news on it, but it has come that the IPL is now going to Dubai, and so it's not going to be easy for everyone to actually fly down there, right? So people need
Yes,
to, but the IPL is the biggest form of India's answer to sports
yes,
globally. So, and that
yes.
is because of our population supports it that much, and we should continue doing that. That's what I would say.
So, do you think then, while you are associated with so many different sports, is there any room? In fact, I would say, is there any room for any other sport to actually reach that kind of heights that we have reached with cricket? Of course, it being that we are a frenzy, we are there is always one sport that a country loves most, and for us, it is cricket. So, I would not like to put it down as the huge big thing that you want to avoid. I think it's great as a structure for other sports to use and springboard on. So is there any other sport that you think can actually even come close or get use this elevation platform that we already have with cricket to then piggyback on and start its own journey?
Well, I think it's not just that it's about cricket. Like, see, I'll come back to the same point. Like today, why billiards and snooker was a taboo for people saying that, like, no, it's a rich man's sport. But it's
Yes.
not, that's not true. It is quite affordable, and it's about making it accessible. Today, how much does a ball and a bat cost, right? At the grassroots level, at 500 rupees also, it's available where people start playing that sport. But for them to get a table or to, get a cue stick and to get all of that, it does cost a little bit more. But if the government supports it and it can get to that grassroots level, any and every sport can grow. But in terms of leagues, like how like IPL was right on the top, but then now with IPL being on top, the ISL as well as the Pro Kabaddi and all are not too far behind either. Even they are
Right.
getting some really good momentum. But yeah, as a country, we're still evolving a lot. It's going to take us time, and we need to not give up and keep pushing it. Like I'm doing whatever I can in my power to push mixed martial arts, because mixed martial arts was originated from our country. Did you know that, right? Of course, like it was with Kalaya Patu that was
Yes.
down south is the
Yes.
actual form of mixed martial arts, and we've
Right.
got more than 10 lakh mixed martial artists in our country every day, like who are trying their best in various forms of the karate, judo, boxing, Muay Thai, various forms of it to try and come and get a good platform. So with Super Fight League, that's what I tried and created, and then with the traction that we got, then we did the boxing league. But then again, for it to sustain, it has to have that kind of backing, and for it to grow further. So it got
Right.
more traction internationally, and right now the last of Super Boxing League was held in Jeddah, and we're
Right.
hopefully trying to do something virtually and bringing it back to India as well. But
Right.
it's not going to be easy. But I just believe that we should never give up. Keep trying your best and keep growing it.
So then with all of these, are there any specific problems that you actually face then with what we have as the limitations in our country for and towards sports? Like we do not primarily, if I have to say, we do not primarily have a sporting culture. Our grassroots levels are not steeped into sports. We still have to build that into our country. So how are
Right.
you as an entrepreneur or others in the industry actually getting down to doing this and educating people?
As I said, like I think the toughest thing which when we faced when we were launching Super Fight League and the Boxing League is getting the like-minded, right people in the same room. And today, when you want to get, all these team owners, because every league's base and backup is the team owners, right? So the franchise
Right.
owners have to be like-minded. They should have that passion for the sport, and to get eight such people in a room together is not an easy task. Trust me.
True.
So I think that was one of the biggest milestones that we achieved during that, and going forward. But the toughest thing I think is always been that the kind of funding that is needed to sustain these sports and these leagues is a very
Right.
tough road ahead. And now
Right.
with this whole pandemic and everything, I'm sure that even sponsorships, like last year itself, after demonetization, first companies cut their budgets by at least 20% lower than what their actual spends were for sports sponsorships. And then post that, then with new government policies and all changing, the
Yes.
marketing spends are coming down lower and lower. So it's
Right.
very tough for properties like these to survive and sustain, unless
Right.
it's cricket. So yeah, it
Yes.
is.
So then what would be your advice for people who are joining in the sports industry, right? So there are a lot of people who are doing it, right? Whether it's ex players getting back into the game, whether it is people who support the sports, whether it's businessmen like you who are extremely passionate about the games that they have played or the games that they want to support. So what is then your advice to all of these people who are already either in the industry or kind of getting a startup like me? What would you advise me?
Make your niche, outshine. Don't worry, the fruits will follow. That's as simple as it is.
Right.
It's not an easy road. I agree to that. But then we all are. It's within our own selves that we skill ourselves that much up to and scale to that level that we could
Right.
you know go ahead and achieve what we desire to. So I think the sports industry in itself is very welcoming, and I think everyone, there is a space for everyone and enough space for everyone also in it.
So in that case, if I have to say that, as a gender fluid man coming from your generation, what would you then say about women in sports, especially women in the business of sports? Is there room for them in the domain? Because women in sports still is something that's kind of is still not seen as much.
Sonali, I beg to differ from you on this point because in most of my organizations which I have worked in, or the leagues that I have worked in and with, I've always have had women entrepreneurs around me, and they've always outshined themselves. And even if you see most of the sports, like even with Super Fight League, we're the first ones to make it into a team sport where we had men and women fighting, not with each other, no doubt about that, but in different weight categories. So, but the woman's point was equally important as the man's point. Same way in the X1 Racing League, there were women drivers also in the team as there were men drivers, and
And
even
which is
their
why
style.
I said men like you who are gender fluid and who are more supportive. What would you say, and how would you put them into the system?
There are a lot of women who are already in this system, Sonali. Like even in like with various teams, like I have a few friends of mine who own various IPL franchises as well. I see
Right,
a lot of women actually running and operating them. Like for
right,
example, I have a very dear friend who works very closely with Madam Neeta Ambani towards her IPL team.
right.
I've seen that most of the time the marketing heads and the operation heads
Both
of
women,
Kings 11 Punjab are also women who like I have
right,
worked with closely, because that team, that franchise also belongs to a friend, Mohit Burman, as we know, who's
right,
also a complete sports,
right.
uh, yeah. So I think there's a lot of equality in the sports industry when it comes to men and women, and
Huh.
women entering the sports industry are more than welcome. And actually, I feel it's my personal thought that are doing much better than men, and I really mean it. No, genuinely, I've seen a lot of creativity
Well,
and a lot
we
of
have
hard work
a lot
that
of
comes in from
women
them.
sports girls who are absolutely outshining out there, and I wouldn't say whether it's in comparison because I usually don't like to do the comparison, but most of the times they just are a lot of fuel for fodder. So I think that's where a lot of people talk about it, and very rightly so. Well, like the way you said that there are women everywhere, but it's a matter of acknowledging it, like so you so rightly acknowledge them on the field, saying that yes, there are so many of them and so much better. And I wish there were more men and more women acknowledging themselves and also coming out more forward. So I would then like to ask you that what are the kind of initiatives, apart from, like you said, starting more, bringing the sport down to grassroots level, starting more schools of sports, getting more people, what else can actually be there out there to reach more people? Because again, a lot of times things get sort of within the box of where it is happening on ground, on field, and the awareness somehow is just so little. Like all the things that you speak about, even say mixed martial arts, until you speak about it, we probably didn't even know that India is so rich in its history of it. uh, so how important, or what would be then the role of getting down to this education of sports within this whole spectrum?
I think you have your answer right in front of you. Go Beyond Sports is one of those platforms that I feel that going to that grassroots level, distributing that knowledge to people, right, about these sports and creating that awareness is the only way forward with it. We keep doing these various sessions, whether and trying to get our message across to people and distributing that knowledge. And what you have created is precisely that's just that. So this is the way forward right here in front of
Ravi,
you.
thank you so much for this. It's an honor. It's an honor to get this from you. So, um, you are somebody who's very innovative, very creative, and you keep coming up across these, like so many ventures. So, is this aspect of you? How do you kind of pick on what you want to do? And I mean, this is more like trying to pick your brain here. So, what makes you tick? How do you know? Okay, this is what I'm going to get in. Did you kind of study? Do you kind of just go by your instinct? How do you kind of know what you're doing next?
Well, most of my ventures actually, come to me from within my circle of people, or
Mm.
like, and it's always come to me on a platter where people have wanted me to, come on board with them or join them or consult for them, come on their advisory boards or become partners with them or invest with them or
Right.
raise them money as well. So it's always been that, like, that like-minded people, when they come across, if I get that comfort to work with them, I would go
Right.
all out and open out every door possible. And for me,
Right.
I'm like, I'm like a Nokia phone. I love connecting people. So if just bringing two and two together, if it makes that happen, it's really good. It's like a, win-win situation that I try to create with most of my ventures.
So tell me
So it's
something.
nothing in particular. Sorry,
You
you saying?
mentioned you mentioned comfort zone. How easy is it, or how difficult is it to keep going out of this comfort zone with every new venture and every new thing that you do? Is this what kind of
That's
gives
what
you
drives
that?
me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
is
that's what drives me. If I become complacent, I can't survive. Trust me, I can't. So
right.
that's like, during this lockdown itself, as I said, I've acquired three new ventures: one in medical, one in energy, and now I'm just getting into another chemical venture as well, which I'm going to be announcing next week. So I keep
Lovely.
trying, like, with amongst all my ventures, I've got a portfolio now of about 25 odd ventures of mine, right, which
Hmm.
I am part of. And out of 25 of them, each one of them, takes gives me that reason to wake up in the morning and, put in my time, effort, and energy. All right.
Right.
As
Right.
you rightfully know, that I do try and strike a balance, but I work hard, but I even party harder. So I do not compromise on my personal life either. Right. And
Right.
I'm a people's person. I love going out. I love hosting parties. I love having people over. Like, like
Right.
generally men say they have their passions with cars, watches, belts, all of shoes. I have it all. I do not deny that. But my biggest passion is I love being a good host. So,
Right. Like connecting to
it's like,
people.
exactly, that's the best way of working forward, I think.
Yeah, and I think so. Then this whole era that we are moving into in terms of collabs, that I think just kind of perfectly describes then what you're also trying to say, right? And how much does it is this now then the way forward?
Yeah, the collabs are the best way forward. I think there's no doubt about that. And with all this whole online, shout outs, mentioning, various marketing gimmicks that are coming out, is actually working well for people. And today, with the power of digital media right in our hands with our smartphone, anyone can create and, share, and people can, the kind of content that we keep absorbing every day, our screen times are like insane because of a reason, right?
Right. Right.
And I think that's just working out drastically really very well for everyone.
Right. Thank you so much. I know, Avi, you're very short on time today, and you've given me this very limited slot
No, no, it's
to
nothing
sort
like
of
that. It's just
to
that,
pick you on.
no,
So
no, it's
I
just
know
that
I
today
could
is a family commitment, as it's my older sibling, my
yes,
older sister's birthday. So just have a little
very,
bit of
very
family dinner
heartfelt
there.
wishes to her and to the family for this special occasion. And so thank you very much for being on this
It's
platform,
an
Avi.
honor
And
and a
so
pleasure.
much.
Thank you for having me here.
Thank
Really an
you.
honor and a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. So I'm going to end with really saying all of these things that you have put in together, where somebody really, as long as you're not complacent, as long as you're out there to make the change and be the change yourself, there is nothing that you cannot do. And at the young age that you have already reached, there is just so much more. And I think, the skies. I don't even think the sky is a limit, or there is absolutely no limit. So we really wish you all the best, and
Thank you so
hope that
much.
you can be a part of Go Beyond Sports more often.
Definitely, I'm always just a call away. Let me know if you
Yes,
ever need me to any insights on anything. I'm always
thank
happy to
you.
help.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much, Sonali. Take care. God
Thank you,
bless.
Ravi. Thank you so much. Bye bye.
Bye.